the Mozart of our generation is Eddie Van Halen. And the Grammys didn't give him the love and respect he deserved. He changed everything. He changed everything for all of us. And when he passed away, it was very evident that everybody experienced the same thing I did. And he was the most inspiring person and still is. And it's funny. It's like I'm almost refusing to talk about anybody but him. But what I realized that he had done. I had a military family too. My dad went to the military, and so he had very creative ways of punishing us. He went to boot camp twice. And all sorts of my friends' dads were like that. I think dads are getting better as generations move on and stuff. But what I noticed when he passed away was there were an endless number of people, including Taylor Hawkins, including um, there are just so many musicians out there that all said the same thing, that Eddie taught them how to find joy.
Wow.
So we were all guys that were growing up with these sort of military families coming from like 60s and 50s dads, and we all wanted to have long hair and we wanted to play music, and it was not received well, right? And by all the time, my whole family would tell me I was crazy. Don't do this, right? And I had a lot of family in the South, and I realized when he passed away that there were millions of us that all went through that, and we all looked to Eddie, and we saw the way the music made him feel, and how happy it made him, and that just being that great at something takes you to a whole nother world, right? Um, and that's what he did for me, and that's what he taught me how to do, and he taught me how to find joy. And I find that the people that can play the hardest often are the people that struggled the most in their teenage years and their youth as well, that had the hardest time. And it was because it became an escape, right? It was a place to go. And it's a funny thing I've come to realize now as well. Which is part of that thing I was talking about early on when the shows came back after the pandemic. I thought it was all about me, and I thought I needed that escape, but came to realize, oh, I don't need this escape anymore. I'm really happy. All right, like I have an awesome wife, I have awesome kids, I live in an awesome house. Like I'm doing great, and all of those past relationships that were hard are pretty repaired. We've come to terms with everything, and so it's like music doesn't do the same thing for me that it used to. And it's realizing that Eddie showed us where to find that. And so yeah, he was a massive mentor. Now of course it's going to be guys like Jeff Beck. I'm a big fan of Bill Frisell, who's a guitar player. He plays with Nora Jones and has his own records and stuff like that. I find what's his name that I mentioned him earlier. Oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. Jacob Collier. I find him very, very inspiring. His first record came out and he played at the Opera House for $20, and I couldn't convince anybody to go. And I went to the show. It wasn't even sold out. It sold out the day that it happened. I just stood in that crowd and cried for 2 hours because it was like music, just to see someone that consumed by it was beautiful. So yeah, I don't know. There's a new inspiration. Guy like that. And you know what? I've been really inspired by Neil Sanderson, the drummer in 3 Days Grace. Working with him has really inspired me. And Jill Zimmermann, who is a producer on the Stand Stills record too. I've learned a lot from them in the last couple of years. And I'm inspired by the way that they do music. Because all of my guys, the Jeff Becks and the Eddie Van Halens and all these people are monster players, right? And Neil is a monster player, but he's more got this musical brain that I haven't experienced before, where when I go to shows with him or work on music with him, he is so like wrapped up in it, and it just takes over his everything, that it's just so fun to be witness to it and watch that happen. I think that's what we watched happen with Taylor Hawkins' kid the other day. Just get completely consumed by it, right? And you can feel it, right? And that's what Neil does for me too. And same with Jill. It's like, oh my gosh, these people don't see music the same way I do, but I think I like the way that they see it better. And so I have a lot to learn still, right? So